Revelation 19 and verse 16. This verse is extremely important in theology. Not as much in the eschatology right here, except it's telling who the one is that's going to bring everything back under control. All right? This is toward the end of the tribulation period here. And the Lord is going to bring the world back under His order again. Now, the religious world has got quite a problem with Jesus in some areas, some elements, that He's just a prophet of God, or He was a prophet of God. And the Bible plainly, it couldn't be any plainer, tell us who Jesus is. Jesus is Jehovah God. Plain. Straight out. This verse here quotes the Old Testament. And Deuteronomy 10 and 17, Deuteronomy 10, 17, Psalm 35 and verse 23, Psalm 136 and verse 3, John 20 and 28 in the New Testament, of course Revelation 19 and verse 16. And if you want to look at something real interesting, on page 11, if you can pull up Brown Driver and Briggs Hebrew English Lexicon on the internet, look up on page 11 there, and it'll really, there's some great things down there. Zechariah 14 and 15, Genesis 15 and verse 28, and Genesis 3:15, John 3:16. These are all cross-references to this. Now let's look at it. Let's read that. All right, Brother Dan, are you there? 19 and verse 16.
And he has on his robe and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. The beast and his armies defeated.
All right. Here we have, and he has on his thigh, and who's this talking about? The great warrior, our great warrior God, okay? Our great warrior God. And I think the only reason why he brings his armies with them is why?
Witness.
To witness what he's doing. All right? There was a great leader among the Lakota people. His name was, well, first of all, his first name was Curly, because he had brown curly hair. All right? That was his a young name. He had 3 different names in his life. The second one that he had was the one who, or man who, stands, his horses are in sight, is what it literally says. His horses are, man who stands with his horse in sight. That was his second name. What was it, Dakota? Man who stands with his horse in sight. All right? Okay, you tell me what it was then. All right? And then his last name that he was greatly known by is Crazy Horse. All right? Crazy Horse. He gave basically one demand or one charge to his troops that he had with him, with his armies, with the people that followed him, and that command was, "Doesn't go get them." He said, "Follow me." That's all he said was, "Follow me, follow me." Now, how many battles would that cure, and how many wars would that take care of today? How many less wars and how many less battles would we have today if the so-called commander-in-chief said, "Follow me"? All right? But in Revelation 19 and verse 6 is exactly what he says here. We are there to witness what he does. We are there to witness what he does. Okay? To witness what he does. Deuteronomy 10:17 now. Deuteronomy 10:17. We want you to go back there. Deuteronomy 10:17. Deuteronomy 10:17. Somebody there yet? You there, Brother John?
Yeah. For the Lord your God is the God of gods and the Lord of lords, the great, the mighty, and the awesome God who does not show partiality nor take a bribe.
All right. Here we have Ha-Adanim, Jehovah, all right? Ha-Adanim, Jehovah, and this one here is Adanim Kal Haaretz, all right? Adanim Kal Haaretz. Now, it says there that your Lord is God of all gods, the Lord of all lords, and everything, Lord of all the heaven and the earth, basically. Jesus is Lord of all lords. Okay? The Jehovah's Witnesses and the Mormons, they got a problem with Jesus. The Mormons, he's just a prophet of God, that's all. Even Islam, he's just a prophet of God. And Jehovah's Witnesses have him even less than that he's just a messenger, just an angel that came down on earth and lived among mankind for a while and had a body like ours, and he died on the cross of Calvary, and whatever happened to his body, they don't know. But I'm going to tell you something, the fellow that died on the cross of Calvary was the creator of the heavens and the earth. He was the Lord of all heaven, the Lord of all the lords, and he's the Lord of the heaven and the earth. Psalm 35 and verse 23 and Psalm 136 and verse 3. Now let's go back. John, are you still back there in Deuteronomy?
Yeah.
All right. Read that one more time.
For the Lord your God is the God of gods and the Lord of lords, the great, the mighty, and the awesome God, who does not show partiality nor take a bribe.
All right. Now, Brother Dan, would you read Revelation 19 and verse 16 one more time?
And he has on his robe and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. The beast in his armies defeated.
All right. Now, this is Jesus, is it not? All right. Now, is he? Here we have Ha-Adanim, Jehovah, all right? And then we have Adonai Kal Haaretz, the Lord of all the earth, all right? Adonai Kal Haaretz. Kal means everything, all right? Kal is everything or over everything, and then Haaretz is the earth, okay? Haaretz. And then we have Jehovah, Adonai Ha-Adanim. And that's exactly where we were in Deuteronomy 10:17. We have Jehovah, the Lord of all the lords. The King of kings and Lord of lords. All right, King of kings and Lord of lords. That's who he is. Now, Zechariah 14 and verse 15. Are you over there, Brother John? Zechariah 14 and 15?
No.
David, are you over there any place? All right. John 20:28 is another place. And Genesis 15 and 28. Rex, are you around there anymore? No? All right, yeah. Has anybody found one of these yet?
14 and 15?
Yeah, 14 and verse 15.
Turn the page here. Zechariah 14, 15.
Yes.
So also like this plague will be the plague on the horse, the mule, the camel, the donkey, and all the cattle that will be in the camp.
All right, now, we're talking about what's going to happen here ahead of time, okay? We're going to see we're going to have a battlefield with the animals and everything else all laying dead flat out there. And this is the Lord now that's going to bring about all this, okay? And then over here in Exodus 21 and verse 5. Exodus 21 and verse 5. That's going all the way back. We're going from the Genesis already all the way to the book of Revelation. The Bible doesn't teach different stories down through there. It's all one story. And then John 20:28. Are you over there someplace, David?
Exodus 21:5.
John 20:28. And then where are you in Exodus?
21:5.
21:5, okay.
Ready for it?
Yeah.
But if the servant plainly says, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free. Then his master shall bring him to the judges.
Okay. Now what it's talking about here is the free will slave. And he calls his master Adonai. Or Adon, Adonai. All right? He calls him because he is his owner. Now when the Lord Jesus Christ purchased you with his blood, you don't own yourself anymore. Do you? You're not yours anymore. You don't go out and do what you're going to do. If you do that, you're going to get a brick on the head. Simple as that. You don't go out and do what you're... Now this guy here in the Old Testament, he's using the word Adonai as his owner and his master. Now, Jesus is the master of the whole universe. Colossians 1:16. Let's go look there real quick. Colossians 1:16 through 18. Colossians 1:16 through 18. Shelby, are you over there?
Not yet.
Not quite yet. This verse is a very powerful verse in the Bible. Are you there, Brother Rex?
No, I don't even know what you're talking about.
All right. Colossians 1:16 through 8. Are you there, Shelby?
Yes.
Okay.
Colossians 16.
Yeah, Colossians 1:16 through 18.
Okay. For by him all things were created that are in heaven and that are on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created through him and for him. And he is before all things, and in him all things consist. And he is the head of the body, the church, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things he may have the preeminence.
All right. Always, Jesus has been the creator. He has always been the creator. He is the one that created everything. All right? And he is the Lord of all things, and especially of the saved on the earth. He is our Lord. All right? And let's go to John 20:28. John 20:28. And we're going to see a fellow quoting the Old Testament here. All right? He's going to be quoting the Old Testament, John 20:28. You're over there, Mama? You want to read it? Mama?
Thomas answered and said to him, My Lord and my God.
All right. Thomas, go back up there to the verse above that and read that verse. Here we have doubting Thomas. Thomas would not believe that Jesus Christ died on the cross and was risen from the dead. He just couldn't believe in the resurrection yet. Okay? And what did he say up there in 20 and verse 20? I mean 20 and verse 27. 20, 27, and 8. Now read all of that, okay?
Then he said to Thomas, Reach up here your finger and see my hands, and reach here your hand and put it into my side, and be my unbelieving, but believing.
All right. Don't be unbelieving, but believing. All right. Thomas said that he wouldn't believe that Jesus Christ was risen from the dead unless he could put his finger in the wounds of his side and through his hands and through his feet. He said, I won't believe that. Simple as that. I won't believe it. All right. And so here Jesus appeared to him, and then he looked at him, and what did he say to him? He said, My Lord and my God. He said, all right, my Lord and my God. All right, my Lord and my Master. Adonai, Adoni. All right, he said, my Lord and my Master. And what he said here also was Jehovah. Jehovah, that's the word Jehovah. Adoni, Ha-Adonim. The Lord and the Master of all of the universe. He recognized at that point of time that he was the Lord of the resurrection also. The Lord of the resurrection. So we see all of this. Now, on page 11 in Brown, Driver, and Briggs, okay, now this here for future references. Here is how many quotations there are. Right there, that whole column. That whole column. All quotations about how Jesus in the Old Testament and Jesus in the New Testament, and he is Adonai. Of all of these, I could stand here and read all these things to you. But I mean, there's a lot of them. This isn't just one place in the Bible now. In the book of Revelation, in John 20 and verse 28, we find that he is Lord and Master. All right? And all these other places we find out that he is the Adonai, Jehovah Sabaoth. What is Jehovah Sabaoth? Remember, there are many Jehovah titles. What about Jehovah Sabaoth? Jehovah Sabaoth. Jehovah, the Lord of armies. Who is this here? Is this Jehovah Sabaoth? All right, it sure is. Is this the Creator God that created the heavens and the earth? Well, sure it is. All right. Is this the Lord our healer? Jehovah Rafika? All right. These are the different Jehovah titles. And all this refers to this one thing here. I grabbed the wrong book. On the front of our web page, we have the Jehovah titles. I had one of my students, he read those Jehovah titles and copied them down. And he started studying, and about 2 or 3 months later, all of a sudden, it jarred to him. All of these titles make sense, exactly in the context of what they are, and Jesus fulfilled them all. Jehovah Elohim, the eternal God. Jesus said, I am Alpha and I am Omega. I am the beginning and I am the end. I am everything. In John 1:1 it says, NRK, in the absolute beginning. All right? He's the creator. Jehovah Adonai. Who is that? Jesus fulfilled the Jehovah titles, people. He is Jehovah. All right? Number 3, Jehovah Jireh. What was that? The Lord shall be seen, or the Lord shall see to it or provide. Okay? Genesis 22nd chapter. That's where Abraham, Jesus was talking to the Pharisees one time, and he said, how old are you? Are you older than Abraham? Are you greater than Abraham? You're not going to die like everybody else, he says. And he said, Jehovah was glad, rejoiced to see me. All right? And then he said, are you greater than Moses and all this kind of stuff? And one time he says, I am the great I am. I am who I am. They asked him who he was, and he said, I am who I am. And they picked up stones to stone him because he said he was the great I am that appeared to Moses. They knew what he said he was. All right, Jehovah Nissi, the Lord our banner. Jehovah Rafika, the Lord our physician. Jehovah Shalom, the Lord our peace. The Lord our peace. Jehovah Tisanakanu, the Lord our righteousness. Okay? Jehovah Mekadeshken, the Lord our sanctifier. Jehovah Sabaoth. What was that one mean? Jehovah Sabaoth, the Lord of armies. That's who we're talking about right here in Revelation 19 and verse 16. Jehovah Shammah, the Lord who is there. The Lord who is there. Jehovah Elyon, Jehovah the Most High. And Jehovah Rohi, that's a very good one. Jehovah Rohi. What is that one? Jehovah Rohi. You remember that one? Psalm 23.
Shepherd.
The Lord my shepherd. Psalm 23. Who's Psalm 23 talking about? Same thing that John 20 and 28 talked about, and Revelation 19 and verse 16 talks about. All right, let's look at this now. And he has upon the garment of him and upon his thigh of him the name having been written. All right, King of kings and Lord of lords. All right, King of kings and Lord of lords. All right, Jehovah Adonai Hallelujah. That is why you say it in the Hebrew Old Testament. In the New Testament is Basileus, Basileon, Kai, Kyrios, Kyrion. The Lord of lords and King of kings. In both languages it says one thing, Jesus. That's all. Just Jesus. 19 and verse 17. 19 and verse 17. Are you there, Shelby?
19 verse 17?
Yes.
Then I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the birds that fly in the midst of heaven,
All right.
come and gather together for the supper of the great God.
This is where we were over there in Zechariah a while ago, remember? All right. This is the great Griffon Vultures. Have you ever heard of the Griffon Vultures? What does history tell us about the Griffon Vultures? The Griffon Vultures followed Nebuchadnezzar's armies. You know that? The Griffon Vultures followed Nebuchadnezzar's armies. The Griffon Vultures followed Alexander the Great's armies. What did they do here, Brother Brett?
Where did these vultures come from?
They just came from, when they saw slaughter, they could smell blood, see it. They're very large vultures. They're still over there in the Middle East today. And these are the vultures, okay, that follow the great slaughters in battle. They go and they eat dead bodies of horses and people, all right? Camels, whatever. And they followed Alexander the Great. They followed Rome's armies. They followed the Christian Crusades. They followed Napoleon's retreat. These great Griffon Vultures, all right? 19 and verse 18. 19 and verse 18, Brother Dan.
That you may eat the flesh of kings, the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, the flesh of horses, and all those who sit on them, and the flesh of all people, free and slave, both small and great.
All right, now let's look at this thing in Greek. That you may feast upon fleshes of kings. There are going to be kings and princes here. And then fleshes of generals, basically. That's what that one, Kilia Ete, that's generals. And then fleshes of strong people. All right, very powerful people like Samson, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. All right, fleshes of horses, and fleshes of the ones sitting upon them, and the fleshes of the free people, and people that have been sold into slavery. All of these people, Ezekiel 39, 18 through 20, Revelation 16, 15, 11, 18, 13, 16, 19 and verse 5. These are some of the cross references to these. All right? Revelation 19 and verse 19. Brother David, are you over there?
And I saw the beast, the kings of the earth, and their armies gathered together to make war against him who sat on the horse and against his army.
All right. And I saw the Therion. What's that word, Therion? What does that name mean? That's a swift-running, swift-moving land shark. That is a swift-running land shark. Okay? All right. And I saw the swift-running land shark, the beast. And then it says the ones kings of the earth and the ones soldiers. All right? The ones kings and the ones soldiers. The word soldiers there is stratumata. All right? We get a word strategist and strategy out of that word. All right? And having been assembled to make war with the one sitting upon the horse and with the soldiers of him. 19 and verse 20. Now here we have another character coming in. Brother John.
And the beast was seized, and with him the false prophet, who performed the signs in his presence, by which he deceived those who had received the mark of the beast and those who worshipped his image. These two were thrown alive into the lake of fire, which burns with brimstone.
All right. Let's look at that again now. Read that one more time, because this is an extremely important verse. Pay a lot of attention to this verse. And what does it say there, Brother John?
And the beast was seized.
All right, the beast was seized. All right, the beast was seized. All right. With what?
The false prophet.
With the false prophet. Now, we've got a beast and we've got a false prophet here. And the one having worked the signs, the miracles. This is a miracle worker, okay? In the presence of him, by witches, it says, he deceived the ones having received the mark. All right? Ones that, now he deceived the world, much part in the world, they had received the mark of the beast. Now he deceived them into taking the mark of the beast. Now what is this mark? Do you remember what that is? The mark of the beast? Do you remember what the mark of the beast is?
Isn't it 666?
Well, that's what's called 666 in the Bible there. That's the mark of the beast. But this is the mark by which you're going to buy and sell anything. You're not going to get any medical treatment. You're not going to have a job. You're not going to buy any food or anything else unless you have this mark. Now, a long time ago in World War II, they had ration coupons, didn't they? Brother Rex, you were around back then?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I remember that well.
You remember that well, huh? Brother Dan, were you around that period of time?
I was, but
You weren't very big. You didn't know what
I remember them a little bit.
you don't remember much about the ration coupons. Could you go out and buy a tire or a loaf of bread or a pound of cheese or butter without it?
My dad did.
The whole purpose was to totally control what products you bought and sold. Now that's already happened. That's a long time ago, wasn't it? That's a long time ago. That's over half a century ago when that happened. Okay? Now that already happened. You couldn't buy a pound of butter. You couldn't buy one single solitary thing unless you had a coupon. Now, in the last days here, during this period of time, you're not going to get any medical treatment. You're not going to get a drink of water. Your money's not going to be worth anything, period, whatsoever at all, unless you got the mark. You're not going to get a job. You can't get paid. Your payment is going to come through that mark. It's going to be a credit card, whatever it is. We talked about the mark earlier, remember? We talked about the mark of the beast. It could be your very DNA that you have. Could be anything. It could be the DNA that you have. Your DNA nobody else has. It could be. Always something. It says the mark of the swift-running beast and the ones worshiping, bending the knee to the image of him, and then the image that's living. They were cast into the lake of fire, burning with sulfur. Here we have Revelation 16, 13, 13, 12, and 14 and 15 and 20, 10 through 14, 21, 8, 14 and 10, and Isaiah 30, 33, and Daniel 7, 11. These are all cross-references to this verse right here. 19 verse 21, Brother John.
And the rest were killed with the sword which came out of the mouth of him who sat upon the horse. And all the birds were filled with their flesh.
All right. And the remainder, the ones remaining, they were killed with a sword, the sword of the one sitting upon the horse. Who is this one sitting upon the horse?
Christ.
Who?
Christ.
All right, this Christ, and who is he?
He's Jehovah.
He's Jehovah who? Sabaoth, the Lord of armies, Jehovah Sabaoth. So he has fulfilled the Jehovah title here. He fulfilled all of these titles. Now at this point in time, the Lord has fulfilled all of the Jehovah titles. He is the Lord of armies. When he came the first time as Jesus in the person. When God broke into space and time in the person of Jesus Christ, right here, he came lowly. It says, riding upon a donkey. Not as the Lord of hosts. Now, he was the Lord of hosts. I want you to understand. He was the same person. But he came the first time to die for our sins. To die for our sins. Okay? The second time when he comes now, he is going to fill the title of Jehovah Sabaoth, the Lord of armies. And the armies are there for one reason, just to witness what he's doing. Because he is going to bring everything into order. All right? He's going to bring everything into order. And the sword proceeding out of the mouth of him, and all the birds, they were filled out of the fleshes of all leaves. All right? What is the What is the Lakota word for bird? Do you remember that, Lakota? You remember what it is? You know what it is, don't you? What is it? Wobbly. Wobbly. All right. Wobbly, that means wing flapper. It says these wing flappers, these birds, or nay, these birds came and were filled. All right. These vultures, these all of the birds of prey here of carrion, they were filled. 20th chapter. 20th chapter. Boy, look over here. Now we're moving on. Brother Dan, the 20th chapter, verse 1.
Then I saw an angel coming down from heaven, having the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand.
All right. We've got an angel coming down with a key, the kleon, the key of the abisu, the bottomless pit. Okay, he's got a chain. All right. Jeremiah 23, 5 and 6. Psalm 90 and verse 4. All right. Now, it says, I saw an angel coming down out of heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a chain great. It says, upon the hand of him, he's carrying this upon this great chain upon his hand. Now, basically, what he is talking about here, he doesn't have to bring a chain. It could be a literal chain, but he is going to tie up somebody. Brother David, who is this person he's going to tie up?
Devil.
All right, the devil. 20 and verse 2. Look at this. This has got a lot of titles here now. 20 and verse 2. Brother David. Yeah.
And he laid hold of the dragon, that serpent of old, who is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years.
All right. 20 and verse 2. And then he said he laid hold of the draconta. What is that draconta? Remember what that means? The draconta? That's that flying serpent in the air, as they talked about in the great mythology a long time ago. The flying serpent in the air, the dracon, the dragon. All right? And then it says the serpent, Ophis. Now, who talked to Adam and Eve in the garden?
Serpent.
The serpent. All right. Acts 16 and verse 16. Acts 16 and verse 16. There was a girl there that had some demonic powers. Where did she get her demonic powers? Acts 16 and verse 16. Let's go and look at that. Acts 16 verse 16. Acts 16 verse 16. Tell me what kind of translation you got there.
The King James, New King James.
Oh, New King James? Let's see what that thing says there. Acts 16 verse 16. Acts 16 verse 16. Here this woman, she's coming around, she's fortune telling is what she's doing. This was an ancient art of the dark arts. All right. But where did she get her power? She'd been following the Apostle Paul for a long time, and she kept on saying this is the Son of the Most High God and all that kind of stuff. What's it say there in Acts
16 verse 16?
Yeah.
Now it happened as we went to prayer that a certain slave girl possessed with a spirit of divination met us, who brought her masters much profit by fortune telling.
All right, here's the girl. Okay? I can tell you the whole story about this a long time in ancient fields where they'd go and sit there and the priest would come and they'd pay for this prophecy and everything. But this girl, it has, what other translation do you have there? The spirit of what? Brother John, what do you have there? You've got New American Standard, don't you?
Spirit of divination.
Spirit of divination. What does it say over there in the middle column?
Don't have one.
Oh, it doesn't have a middle column. How about you, Brother David?
New King.
No, yours, okay. Anybody got something over there that says in the side, over there to the side it says the spirit of a Pythona. It's what it is. That's what it literally says in Greek, Pythona. All right, what is the word? Our word Pythona. All right, that's the word Pythona. And we've got a word, Python, that comes right out of that Greek word. All right. And what is a python? What is it?
Snake.
A snake. Nahash. Nahash, as it says in the Hebrew. The second verse or the The first verse in chapter 3, it says, Vinahash was more subtle than all of the beasts of the field. All right? The Nahash. All right? So we have this woman that is powered by the serpent. And here we have the serpent over here, the serpent of old. Genesis 3. All right? Genesis 3 and 1. Somebody go to Genesis 3 and 1. And let's look at that. Brother Dan, you over there in that book? Genesis 3 and 1. Nahash. That's how it starts off.
I'm working on it.
All right, that's in Hebrew, though. We want it in English. Genesis 3 and 1. This is the serpent of old, archaic. Our word archaic comes right out of that Greek there. See that word? Archaeos.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And now the serpent was more cunning than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said to the woman, Has God indeed said, You will not eat every tree of the garden?
All right, so he's going on now. What he's doing here is deceiving. This is his deceit. All right? He's quoting the Bible. He's quoting God, basically. Quoting God. He's quoting the rules, but he's trying to bend the rules. People have the idea that they can change the Bible to make it mean what they want it to mean. That's not going to work. All right? That's a devil's trick. It's the serpent of old, which is the diabolos. Diabolos, the devil. What is the word diabolos? That's quite a word. Diabolos. All right, diabolos. Diabolos comes from two Greek words. Dia, that means through, and balo, which means to throw. When you throw a bullet through somebody, like 45 caliber, 36 caliber, 38 caliber, whatever it is, when you throw a bullet through somebody, what happens?
Kill them.
You kill them, you shoot them. That's what the name means. His name means impaler. All right? Vladimir the Impaler, wasn't there somebody like that went around impaling people at one time? Well, here is the original impaler right here. The destroyer. All right? Diabolos. And then it says, Kai ho satanos. Satan. Satanos. What does the word Satan mean? What does that mean? We got the destroyer here. What? Satan. That means stand against God. What happened back here in Isaiah the 14th chapter and Ezekiel the 28th chapter? What did Satan, well, his name was Lucifer back then, wasn't he? Lucifer is what means light carrier. What did Lucifer do? He stood against God and the forces of God. All right? And he convinced about 1/3 of the angelic and spiritual forces to do the same thing. About 1/3 of them. 2 Peter 2 and 4 and Jude 6. 2 Peter 2 and 4 and Jude 6. We looked at Genesis 3 and 1, Isaiah 24 and verse 22, Isaiah 14 also. It's talking about the old dude. Are you over there yet? Who's got 2 Peter 2 and 4? Shelby.
For if God did not spare the angels who sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved for judgment.
All right, now that's talking about the Lord. It's talking about some angels are held in the bottomless pit today. Did you know that? There are certain angels and spirits that are chained up, confined in the bottomless pit today, and we're going to find out that the Lord is going to turn them loose on mankind during the tribulation period. Okay? How about Jude 6? Jude 6. Are you there? Go ahead.
And the angels who did not keep their proper domain, but left their own habitation, he has reserved in everlasting chains under darkness for the judgment of the great day.
All right. Now this is the book of Jude. If you read the book of Enoch, it tells you a whole lot about this very thing. All right? Now, the angels are, they're going to lay hold of the dragon. These are the 6 things that the angel is going to do. They're going to lay hold of the dragon. They're going to bind him for 1,000 years. They're going to cast him into the abyss. And they're going to lock him down. And they're going to seal his work. All right? They're going to seal him up. That's what's going to happen. For how long? 1,000 years. A Kilia. That word Kilia there, look at that. What's a kilo or something? That's 1,000 or something. All right? When you look at a term like this, what does that mean? 6,000. All right, that's the word. We got our word kilio. We got our word kilo or 6K or whatever, and you see that on signs and all kinds of stuff. Where it came from is this word right there in Greek, kilia. All right, kilia. That's where it comes from. 20 and verse 3, Brother David.
And he cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal on him, so that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years were finished. But after these things he must be released for a little while.
All right, now let's go to our chart here. Here we are. We're through the tribulation period, and the Lord of armies, Jehovah Sabaoth, has gone out and taken everything back under his control again. Now he takes the old devil, he takes all of his angelic forces and all of this, and he puts them in the bottomless pit, and he throws some of them in the lake of fire already. All right? And so that's what happens here. Here we are now, and then there's going to be 1,000 years of rest on the earth. 1,000 years of rest. The second coming of the Son of Man will be like what happened in the days of Noah. Noah. All right? All right. That's what it looks like in Hebrew. That's what Noah's name looks like. Noah. Say that. Noah. You have to say that from your throat. Noah. Noah. All right? That's real guttural, or guttural sound. All right? Noah. And that means rest. And it means peace. And it means safety. All right? That's beautiful, isn't it, when you think about that? Peace. What is the Hebrew term now? There's another term for peace. What's the greeting that they greet each other with? Shalom. Shalom. All right? And all the Jews and all the Arabs over there, they'll all say shalom to each other. But we're not going to have peace until the Lord of armies brings peace. You know what's going to bring the whole world into control and get it all straightened out? One thing. It's not any president that we have in the United States. It's not any prime minister any place else in this world. It's not going to happen. They may get some temporary peace here and there, but the real peace is going to come from this 1,000 years when the earth gets the rest for 1,000 years. That's not the end of it, though, is it? That's not the end of it. The earth is going to rest for 1,000 years, and why is the earth going to rest? Because the old devil is going to be put away. He's going to be put away. Won't it be nice to not have him to deal with? But for 1,000 years, all right. And he cast him into the abyss, and he locked him down, and he sealed a seal upon him, in order that he might not lead astray any longer the nations, that it might be brought to completion the 1,000 years. And then it's bindingly necessary for him to be loosed for a mikron chrono, for a little time, mikron chrono. All right? Now, why is this 1,000-year reign necessary? There are people who are what they call them, Brother John, you know what we're talking about. People that don't believe in the millennium. We call them what?
Covenant theologians.
Hyper-Calvinistic theologians, okay. All right? We call them amillennialists. They don't believe in the millennium. Okay? They don't believe in the millennium. But here is the millennium. They say the word millennium is not in the Bible. I beg their pardon. In the Latin Bible it is. In the Greek it's Kilia, 1,000 years. All right? And in Latin it is Mille Annum. All right? Or 1,000 years. It is in the Bible. For 1,000 years. Ezekiel 36, 25 through 38. Let's go and look at that. And let's look at this 1,000-year reign. Why are we going to have a millennial reign? Why is it necessary?
Promised to Israel.
It was promised to Israel. Now over here, the Lord called Israel, well, first of all, God promised Abraham that he's going to become a mighty nation, a great many people. All right, through Abraham. The word, what was Abraham's first name? Abram, which meant exalted father. What does the word Abraham mean? Exalted father of many. All right, of a multitude. Okay? He changed his name to Abraham, and he promised him that he was going to have children and all this. Phillips. See, I didn't hear that very well. She had to listen from all the way over around the room to tell me to turn that tape over. Because I'm deaf. All right, these old machines. Where was I?
Ezekiel something.
Ezekiel. All right, Ezekiel 38, or 36, that is, 25 through 38. We're going to look at that in just a minute. But why, in history, why is this millennial reign necessary? He promised over here that he would be a mighty nation. He said that your people will go into bondage. They will come out. God gave them the law on Mount Sinai there. And they were representatives of the whole earth. Israel was supposed to be the representative, and they were his administrator of his kingdom for this period of time. Jesus took the reins or the administration of that kingdom away from them when he walked into the temple area on what we call the day of his triumphant entering. He took the reins of his kingdom away from them. And he took the reins and he gave it to his little ecclesia, his little assembly that he'd already called out. And then he empowered it on the day of Pentecost. And then they got scattered out. And during this period of time, he set aside Israel, the dispersion of Israel, Ezekiel 36, 16 through 19. And then we find out God's going to deal with Israel again. He gathers Israel back from Ezekiel 36, 20 through 24 now. And for 1,000 years, Israel will glorify the Lord. During this tribulation period, God's going to get them ready. He's going to get them ready. He's going to make them want to serve Him. He's going to make them want to serve Him.
No Gentiles will be here during that time.
Oh, there'll be some Gentiles. There'll be 1/6 of the Gentile nations left in the world on the earth. Israel will be the centerpiece. It's going to the earth. Israel will be the centerpiece in the earth. That's where they're going to be God's display of grace upon the earth for 1,000 years, and they're going to glorify God on this earth for that 1,000 years. Now, in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve had a perfect paradise, didn't they? What does Eden mean? Eden means pleasure, pleasurable. It means paradise. Okay? That's what it means. It means a pleasure place. It means a guarded pleasure park. That's what Eden was. Okay? Just like the word paradise. It was a guarded pleasure park. Who was supposed to be guarding it? Huh? Adam. All right? Adam let his guard down, didn't he? And let his wife talk to the snake. And there's where we have the problem from then on. Okay? But God said one of these days He's going to give us another Garden of Eden on this earth. And Israel is going to take her rightful place. Okay? How many of you ever heard of the name Corrie ten Boom? She was a Dutch girl, and they helped a lot of Jewish people during the World War II. And her husband, or not her husband, but her father was a great believer of God. Okay? He was a very religious man. He read the Bible every day to his family in the morning and at night. He was a great example to his community. He was a watchmaker over there in Holland. And during that war, he believed that Israel had an economy, a place. He called Israel God's people. So he tried to protect them during World War II. Okay? Well, Germany went after them so viciously, and Hitler was out to kill all the Jews. Now, Hitler just did exactly what Luther had called for several hundred years before. He called for the incarceration and the destruction of the Jewish people. Luther did not believe in the economy of God in the end times. He did not believe in Ezekiel 36:25 through 38. He did not believe in the regathering of Israel. He said he had replaced Israel with the church. That's what we call replacement theology. Okay? It doesn't work in the Bible. The Bible just doesn't work out that way. Revelation 21 through 3 is where we are right now. We find the old devil's been put into the bottomless pit. And Ezekiel 36:25 through 28. Are you there, Brother Dan?
Ezekiel?
Ezekiel 36:25 through 38. Let's just read a couple of verses.
Then I will sprinkle clean water on you, and you shall be clean. I will cleanse you from all your filthiness and from all your idols. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. I will take the heart of stone out of your flesh and give you a heart of flesh. I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes.
Okay, hold on right there, right where you are. Now it's talking about Israel. Okay, it's not talking about the church, it's talking about Israel. All right? And Israel, he said he's going to do this too. And this period of time, the whole tribulation period, was to get Israel ready to serve him. What made Israel want to go back in the land? What made them want to get a homeland? You remember what happened? What Hitler did. What Hitler did. They had a bunch of what called displaced person, DP ships over there, displaced person ships, and they were floating around out there in the Mediterranean, just off of the shores of Palestine out there. And some of those Jews were they were displaced persons. They were sitting out there on the deck, and they looking over there, and they were there for months and months and months. And finally, they started diving off the ships and swimming ashore. Some of them drowned, whatever. They were diving off, and they went out there, and they wanted a homeland. And of course, May the 14th, 1948, what happened? They got their homeland. They were declared a nation again. All right? So that's the beginning of the regathering of Israel. We saw the dispersion. When Israel rejected her Messiah, they were going to be kicked out into the world. They were going to be abused. And by persecution, by tremendous persecution, they wanted a homeland again. With this terrible persecution right here, the tribulation period is coming upon the world for the sake of the Jews. Did you know that? In the Garden of Eden, because Adam sinned, it says, the earth is cursed because of you. The whole world is going to go through this tribulation period because of the Jews. It's going to get them ready to serve the Lord. Okay, go ahead, and it's going to give them a new heart. Brother Daniel.
You will keep my judgments and do them. Then you shall dwell in that land that I gave to your fathers.
All right. Now, this is the land of Israel. Now, we're not talking about some spiritualizing away this stuff. Augustine, a long time yonder, a long time ago, Augustine started spiritualizing away the Scriptures. And this here, as far as he was concerned, was to the church. But that's not what it's talking about, people. Brother Dan, read on further.
You shall be my people, and I will be your God. I will deliver you from all your uncleanliness. I will call for the grain and multiply it, and bring no famine upon you. And I will multiply the fruit of your trees and increase your fields, so that you need never again bear the reproach of famine among the nations. Then you will remember your evil ways and your deeds that were not good, and you will loathe yourselves in your own sight for your iniquities and your abominations. Not for your sake shall I do this, says the Lord God. Let it be known to you. Be ashamed and confounded for your own ways, O house of Israel.
Okay, who's it talking to? Oh, house of Israel. All right, this is Israel. Okay, that's who it's talking about. Israel is going to be brought back to God, and they're going to take their rightful place on this earth, and they are going to rule on this earth for the Lord in their physical bodies of those people, and there's going to be 1/3 of the Jews left. 2/3 are going to be killed. All right? 2/3 of them are going to be killed. Now let me read to you just a little bit of the notes. Isaiah 4, 1 through 6, Isaiah 62, 1 through 5, Isaiah 66, 22 through 24, Isaiah 65, 18 through 25, Zechariah 12 and 10, Jeremiah 3:17, Isaiah 2 and 6, Psalm 67 and verse 6, and these are some of the verses referring to the millennial reign in the Bible. I mean, it's all over the Bible, people, including Revelation 20 and verse 3. The millennium is a reality in the Bible. All right? It's a reality. The Lord shall be king, Zechariah 14 and 9, for a 1,000-year period of time. Isaiah 11 and 9, Isaiah 2 and 3, and Ephesians 2 and 7. Okay? No more preparation for war. Isaiah 2 and 4. No more preparation for war. There's not going to be any more right here at all. God is going to demand, He is going to demand righteousness on this earth. If they don't serve Him, they're cut off. A great change shall take place in the animal kingdom. Genesis 2:19, Isaiah 11, 6 through 8. Go to Isaiah 11, 6 through 8. All right, Isaiah 11, 6 through 8. Isaiah 11, 6 through 8. Anybody over there yet? Rex, are you over there? Linda, are you there?
No way.
Okay. Oh, brother, yeah.
You have multiplied your slain in this city, and you have filled its streets with the slain. Therefore, thus says the Lord God, your slain whom you have laid in the midst that are the meat, and this city is the cauldron, but I shall bring you out of the midst of it. You have feared the sword, and I will bring a sword upon you, says the Lord God. And I will bring you out of its midst, and deliver you into the hands of strangers, and execute judgments on you. Go ahead.
All right, yeah, go ahead.
You shall fall by the sword. I will judge you at the border of Israel. Then you shall know that I am the Lord.
Okay. Now, the Lord's going to bring, there's been a lot of judgment upon many nations in the world, haven't there? A lot of judgment upon many nations in the world because of what the Lord has done. All right? And there's going to be a great change in the animal kingdom. It says the lamb is going to lay down with what? The lion. All right? And the snakes. Dakota, you like snakes? Now hush. All right, anybody here like snakes? Nobody likes snakes? Well, people, there's going to be kids playing with snakes. They're going to be friends of snakes again. The animal kingdom is going to get along fine. What happened there on the ark? So many people don't realize that. So, I had to take these animals and keep them away from these animals. I got news for you. Those animals weren't killing each other at that time yet. They were eating, all of them were eating grass just like a cow. After they got off the ark, man was not even supposed to eat any animal flesh before the flood. Not till after the flood were you even allowed to eat any animal flesh. If you killed an animal before the flood and ate it, you know what the penalty was? If you shed an animal's blood before the flood, what was the penalty? Death. You killed an animal, you died. Did you know that? If you killed an animal before the flood, you died. If you did it on purpose for viciousness, you died. Okay? Simple as that. The Lord shall judge in righteousness, Isaiah 11, 4 and 5. There will be no more sickness, Isaiah 33 and verse 24. All right? The Abrahamic covenant shall be fulfilled. Vegetation shall grow. There will be no more weeds. How come why did weeds come upon the earth in the book of Genesis, in the 3rd chapter? To punish Adam. It said the ground will no longer produce its produce, now it would grow thorns and thistles because of him. In the millennial reign, there's not going to be any more goat heads, no more sandbirds, no more foxtails. A foxtail was probably a plant one time that produced some kind of good fruit. and maybe a goat head with some type of beautiful flower. I remember one time a preacher moved here into San Joaquin Valley. He wasn't worth a flip, but he was. I knew him. And they lived out in the desert out there by Taft. And his wife said she saw these little crawling plants on the earth. It was sending out these little things. She thought they were some kind of flower. They had beautiful little yellow flowers on each one, and she was out there watering them. Pretty soon they had stickers on them. That's goat heads. We'll have thorns. We'll have roses without thorns. All of these.
Don't have any Johnson grass and nut grass.
All right. All of these things, if God is going to, isn't that going to be beautiful? But where are we going to be? Now, that's Israel down on the earth. And there's going to be 1/6 of the world to go into the millennial reign of Christ in their physical bodies. And there's going to be 1/3 of the Jews go into the millennial reign in their bodies. And they're going to be having children. And women could have 1,000 children. They can have 1,000. A woman can have 1,000 children. It's possible. Your bodies are built. Why, Eve had a lot of kids, people. All those women, they populated this earth back then. And children were a blessing. And women will have you know what else is going to happen? Women are going to have children without any pain over here. All right, Brother Rex.
Oh, I just wanted to say, is that where Satan's going to get his army from?
Now,
Comes back?
he is going to be turned loose. Now, we haven't got there yet, but in the end of this, he's going to be turned loose out here. See this there, 27 through 9, Revelation 27 through 9. He's going to be turned loose. He's going to go out, and he's going to gather up for 1,000 years. There's no influence of Satan at all. No influence of Satan. Satan is out of the way now for 1,000 years. And people are still going to be Adamic. They're still going to be sinners by choice for that period of time. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? I had to get to this point right here. All right. Yes.
If our DNA, because it says that we're not to take the mark on our forehead or our
Hand.
right hand.
Mhm.
So how could you take the mark of your DNA?
What if
On
they
your
put
forehead?
what if they put your DNA information in your hand or in your forehead and would read both things at once? You couldn't have a false ID, could you? Huh? There could be no false ID if it was reading the DNA and the program of the DNA at the same time, could it? Boy, that would be quite a mark, wouldn't it? I'm not saying that's what it is, but that could be.
Right.
I'm not saying that's it. That could do it. I tell you what, you sure couldn't have a false ID, could you?
No.
If everything you own was marked with your DNA, they would know exactly whose it was, wouldn't they? And you sure couldn't have a false ID. You know, Corrie ten Boom, she had a guy, they got false ration cards for hundreds of Jews back at that period of time so they could get something to eat. They were black marketed. But there isn't going to be any black market food or anything during this period of time. There's going to be a lot of dead people is what's going to happen. A lot of dead people. All right?
If they did it by your DNA, then you wouldn't have a choice. would
Well,
you?
you'd have to take the mark of your DNA.
Oh, so
If they would have a script in you, some type of a script would tell you what you are. It's probably a double check. It's a double check, you know. But I mean, I'm not saying that that's what it is, but it could be.
But
That's
we're
all I'm
not to take that mark.
You have to take it, yes.
Oh,
You
you
have
do?
to.
Where does it say that you have to? Because I thought it said that.
If you're going to live on this earth and breathe and eat and work,
Yeah.
you're going to have to. Otherwise, you're going to die. It's going to be death. Right now, we live in the age of grace. Right now, you can be saved and you can go on and eat and serve the Lord. You can go to church here tonight in this discipleship class. But there's going to be a period of time, if you're saved, you're not going to be able to go to church. You're not going to be able to eat anything. After the rapture over here, all you got forward to look for if you get saved is dead. That's it. Dead. No more grace. It talks about the age of grace here, doesn't it? But this is death and tribulation over here. There are going to be a lot of people saved over here, but there are going to be a lot of people that are saved to die.
A lot of birds are going to be happy.
Yeah. A lot of happy wobblies. A lot of vultures, happy vultures at that period of time. There's going to be public executions constantly televised, aren't they? How's the whole world going to see people beheaded and public executions, is what's said. All right. We're going to get into all of that. We've got a little way further to go. Have any other questions? Any other comments? Anything else before I turn you loose on the world? Go out and do what? Something eternal this week.
Did we read verses 24 and 5?
24 and 5?
Chapter 20, Revelations.
20?
4, chapter
No, we're
20.
just there.
Okay, we're just
We're
there.
that's where we're
Okay,
going to
'cause
start
that's
next
gonna
week.
tell about the
Yeah,
month.
we're going to go there and
Okay.
look at that next week.
Okay.
All right.
All
Now
right.
we're bouncing back and forth.